that we look at sunscreen as one of the major stressors that were affecting our corals. And so in April 2018, with the help of Kathleen Clark, our marine specialist, we launched our oxybenzone free sunscreen initiative. And we also invited Dr. Craig Downs. Dr. Downs is one of the advocates for chemical sunscreen pollution. And he actually helped us look at some of the educational materials that we could share with our community. And this one that you're seeing right now is a guide on what is the best and way of protecting yourself and also protecting our environment, the corals and the fish and natural resources in the bay. So the best, if you can see, is to wear cover up, to wear hats, sun wear shirts, rash guards. Look at the time that you're going out onto the bay. So take in consideration the hottest times of the day may not be the best times to go out. But the second best thing to do is use mineral-based sunscreens. Sunscreens with active ingredients of zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. And it's not about the product's name. It is really about the ingredients. So what you want to do is you want to flip the product over and look at the ingredients. And if the main ingredients are zinc oxide or titanium dioxide, that is the product that you want to purchase. You want to avoid chemical sunscreens, and that is where you see that annulus with the never mark there. So products that contain oxybenzone, avobenzone, homosalate, octinoxate, all of these ingredients are things that you want to avoid because they're found to cause damage to our natural resources, to our reef. And then, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, I know a lot of people have been tripped up by, I know a lot of sunscreens have tags on them that say reef safe or environmentally friendly. Is that necessarily true, or do you always have to turn it over and look at ingredients?
Yeah, the best thing to do, Tara, is to really review the ingredients, because as you mentioned, there are products out there that have a sticker on it that say reef safe, oxybenzone free. But if you turn it over, there will be ingredients within that product that have avobenzone or the other octinoxate or octoprilene. So you want to avoid these ingredients. And then the beginning of 2021, a law has been signed and will go into effect, banning oxybenzone and octinoxate in Hawaii. And that was thanks to Dr. Craig Downs for all of his support and all of our Maui advocates and Kauai advocates, Oahu, everyone coming to the table demanding that we really look at how these ingredients were affecting our corals. And the poster that you are sharing right now is the information that was gathered when Dr. Craig Downs came to Kahalu'u in April 2018. and did water quality sampling on oxybenzone. And if you can see at the top of the poster, the deterioration of a coral head within a very short period of time, from November 2nd, 2018 to February 15, 2019. And when we look at the concentration of these chemicals in the bay, oxybenzone in the bay, you notice if you go, you notice where it says EPA guideline risk quotient, we found that the oxybenzone level in the bay was 262 times higher than the Environmental Protection Agency's requirement or threshold for high-risk situations. Dr. Downs said Kahalu'u Bay was the worst he has, in oxybenzone concentration, he has seen in the entire world. His analysis and water sampling has been taken from Virgin Islands, in Europe and back in Asia. So it was devastating for us to hear the kind of numbers that was coming out of Kahalu'u in 2018. So based on that, we did a very, very aggressive sunscreen campaign for the next few, actually a year and over a year and a half, on doing mineral-based sunscreen swaps, partnerships with other mineral-based sunscreen companies, doing a lot of education, outreach to the community, to the schools, to our businesses, partnering with all of our HTA partners, Hawaii Island Visitors Bureau. And the results were amazing. When we collected water sampling in November 2019, in November, if you can look at some of the levels, it's like in April, Tara, if you take that little cursor, yes, where you are, if you can see the numbers in April 2018, where your cursor is, it was 440 parts per billion in, again, in April 2018. And when it was retaken in November 2019, it was only 11.90 parts per billion. So the bay in November, the average was 93% positive in removing all of the concentration of oxybenzone. It was amazing, and it is kudos to the volunteers and to the community and visitors who really understood the importance of taking care of the bay. And that is one of the reasons, that is the reason why we're seeing this kind of reduction. And very, very proud of where we are today.
That's
but it took
honestly mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing, but you know, it takes a lot of energy to do good. But you know, our tutus always say, don't give up. If you know it's the right thing to do, you should continue to do it, because at the end of the day, it is for not only for the community, but it is also for the environment and for the survival of your place, for the survival of your people. So they say, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I know there's a slight delay. Internet is being used by everybody these days. So I apologize if I accidentally cut you off, Auntie.
No, it's fine.
I was just gonna say, it's a testament to what can happen when a community comes together and talks.
Yes.
By sharing that knowledge and that information between Dr. Downs and yourself and Kathleen, and of course, your amazing volunteers, your Aloha ambassadors, this is what can happen when a community comes together. It's absolutely impressive and invigorating.
Well, and it can be a model that can be shared with all of these different bays across the Hawaiian Islands, and we are willing to do that. And I think that is something that that it should be in the front of our minds, because it's so difficult sometimes to start from scratch and then look at how do I create it, where if you give it away, then you can just tweak it off onto your bay and look at creating a healthier environment. Because the bottom line for us is healthy aina, healthy kanaka. Yeah, healthy lands, healthy people. That is what my family, my kupuna have always said. Treat your land like you would your sweetheart, and he will always take care of you.
It's such an appropriate and beautiful saying. But I know you have some videos also from before and after COVID. So one of the questions I always like to ask our guests is, what are some of the challenges that you've faced and your team and your volunteers around COVID, and what are some of the good things that have happened through this rest period?
Yeah, you know, it was such a difficult and sad few months, because on March 14, 2020, I made a decision to suspend all operations at Kahalu'u, and that really was the source of our financial stability for our programs. But foremost was the safety of our volunteers and our staff. And since then, it has been very difficult, not only for us, but for a lot of our businesses. Close friends of mine who own businesses are going through some very difficult times. And on the other side to that, when the community needed help, I found that a lot of our friends and associates were just coming together to help each other. Whatever they needed a mask, we'll sew it for them. We'll do all of these things that take care of each other. And I think one of the most important things that I see in Hawaii, and as I look at other places on the mainland, and I think we still have the aloha spirit here, that we really believe and respect each other and love each other. So wearing a mask for me is not about me, it's about you. And I see it every day when I go into a store. People are wearing their masks because they want to take care of each other. And it makes me happy to know that it is still a very strong, these threads that we have created have developed in a very beautiful fabric. And we want to keep that kind of aloha spirit alive. And on this island, I think we still have it. And as I look on another issue with COVID, this moment of pause has created a real eye-opener for a lot of us. We have seen the resilience of Kahalu'u Bay Mother Nature and Kahalu'u himself show us in a couple of months how resilient he is, how much life and bounty that we experience within a very short period of time. Limu, the amount of species and fish that we have not seen in years are now just prolific in the bay. And so it makes me feel as though it's giving us an opportunity to look at how we need to move forward by balancing biodiversity with economic recovery. It is important that we take care of our people, that they can survive, but it's also important to be able to take care of our environment and take care of our natural resources, because they are part of our survival. And so we see those things coming to pass, and I think we as a community must come together and collaborate, the state, the county, HDA, and create realistic, pragmatic, and Pono plans that as we move forward, we can still embrace and care and heal our environment. And I think Mother Earth is asking us to please help her. And shame on us if we know this, we see it, and we don't do anything. Yeah.
You always phrase everything so well and so eloquently.
Oh.
I couldn't agree more. With that being said, would you like me to share these videos?
I would love. Kathleen did a beautiful video on the clean water. On March 20th, she took the video of Kahalu'u, and then again on May 10th. So just before the close, and then on May 10th.
And Kathleen filmed all of that?
Yes, she did.
Thank you, Kathleen. I know you're on here somewhere. That is amazing before and after to like visualize what's truly going on there, and how clearing up the water is not just fun for us to be able to see more things, but it really has an impact on the bay, right, Auntie?
Yes, and even in a very short period of time. Can you imagine that? And you know, when I was a little girl, I used to visit Kahalu'u, and it reminds me of what Kahalu'u was. And it also reminds me of times with my dad when we would go fishing, and how he would always say, you got to take care of your place because it will always save you. And you can see it in that in that 1 minute. It's powerful to visualize something like that uh, is something that we should really take to heart and understand that it can be done. We can do it together. And it is. Together we can make a difference.
With a little bit of thoughtfulness and a lot of balance,
Yes.
we can have a big impact.
Yes. Yes.
And I think, did Kathleen also put together this other video that you sent me on abundance?
On abundance, because as we look at this, the cleaner water video that we just saw, this is what happens when your base starts to heal. And this is the video on abundance.
Again, a shout out to you, Kathleen. I know you're watching. Thank you for putting together these videos. They're
Thank you, Mahalo, Kathleen. Here. See how beautiful,
so
it's alive, and it's what it should be, and it should continue to be. And the other day I saw a fisherman go by with his net, and I can remember, and he had a helper, and I can remember being, it brought back memories of Dad with his net and me with my net, and I'm his helper. And they didn't, they took one time, one throw, and they were gone, because it's so bountiful. And that's what it should be. It should be a place where we can gather our food, but it also has to be pono practices. You only take what you need, and you leave the rest for others. Those unwritten social codes that we were brought up with are very critical in this time of healing too. But I thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to come and share about Kahalu'u, and to ask that we all come together to help protect this most beautiful, treasured place we call a Vahipana. And it is so so humble to be here, Tara. I thank you.
We feel very honored and privileged to have you join us, and to have Kathleen's work shown, even though she's not on here with us. I get goosebumps every time I listen to you two, and the work and the bringing everybody together. It's not only impressive, but it's like you said, it can be used as a template on how to move forward and how to come together. And I don't know that I've ever actually shared this with you or with Kathleen, but Kahalu'u is actually what originally inspired me to move to Hawaii when I was 8 years old. That is the first place besides New Jersey shore that I got to go swimming and see actual fish, go snorkeling. It was one of the first places I went and actually snorkeled instead of just playing in a tide pool. So it's a very special place, and to see it come back, because those videos we just watched are how I remember it when I was 8 and 9 years old. There was so many fish, and people knew a lot about it, but just seemed to be calmer and quieter back when I was, not to date myself, but 30 years ago.
Well, I can date myself longer than you.
And I can't even imagine what it was like before that, but to have those experiences, it's a very special place, and to see this care, to see these wonderful caretakers, the whole team, the volunteers and yourselves, it's very inspiring to me, and I really thank you all for the work you're doing.
I thank you.
With that, we wanted to end on a little bit of a quiz, a reef etiquette quiz, but we do have some prizes. This is not like a graded pop quiz, anything like that for the people at home. You do not have to actually participate if you don't want to. There is no grade, but there are prizes, and to, motivate you to really be good about your sunscreen and check the ingredients. We've actually already checked the ingredients for you on these. But Auntie Cindi has some different brands at her house, and I have some different brands here. But we're going to be giving these away. So if you answer the question and get it right, we'll go ahead and stay on the line for me. I'll get your information so I can send these to you, or we can set up a pickup zone. But we want to make sure you guys get access to some of these sunscreens. So let's see. I'm going to share our final little quiz. Don't cheat yet. I gotta make it full size. Yeah, all right. So our lovely reef etiquette quiz. I have Candy watching our answers, so she'll be able to tell me who answers first. When snorkeling or diving, it is not okay to touch, walk on, or break coral. True or false? I know I'm monitoring many platforms here, so I have helpers to help me see who's responding. That is correct. It's true.
Yay.
Corals are living animals, and a lot of guests to the island don't know that, but they are animals. And more importantly, or just as importantly, I should say, is they're a nursery for our animals on island, for our fish. They provide their home and their food. So we want to be very, very careful with the corals. Nicely done. Our next question, true or false? Do not remove anything from the reef. Everything has a purpose. Yep, that is also true. Taking live coral or rock with marine life attached is illegal in Hawaii. And maybe, Auntie Cindi, can you share, is that illegal all over Hawaii or just in certain areas of Hawaii?
It is all over Hawaii. So you don't want to remove anything from the reef.
We never want to do that. It was explained to me once as a child, and I think it's the best explanation I've ever heard, is if you're doing a puzzle, and many of us are doing puzzles right now during quarantine, you're doing a puzzle and you are missing a few pieces, you don't get to see the full picture. And if you take something from nature, you're taking a piece of those puzzle pictures, and you're not going to get the entire picture. And that's not fair to the next person who's trying to do the puzzle, and it's not fair to the puzzle itself because it can never be complete. So always leave things where they are. Look at them, take photos, take memories, but don't take them themselves.
Yes.
See, next question. True or false? Try not to kick up sand or sediment when on the reef. So thinking about our videos again and how clear they are. Yes, we got another true.
Yes.
It does block the sunlight, and sunlight is essential to dwellers such as coral. Coral has one of the coolest symbiotic relationships. I'm going to nerd out for 1 second here with my marine biology background. The coolest word I have ever learned in marine bio, zooxanthellae. Zooxanthellae lives inside that coral with it in this beautiful relationship, and zooxanthellae is a type of phytoplankton that requires that sunlight, and without it, they cannot have a beautiful friendship. They're both sweethearts to each other and need to care for each other. So that sunlight is essential for them. Mm-hmm. We have some pros on this call, or watching, I should say. True or false? Do not remove anything from the reef. Everything has a purpose. We already asked this question, so you should get it right. Yes, still true. Still true. So true. How about feeding the fish? Is it okay to feed the fish? True or false? Feed the fish. It's okay to do that. We have a little bit of a mix. It is actually false. We do not feed the fish. And Auntie, do you want to share why that's so important not to feed the fish?
Well, because what we'd like to do, have the fish eat their natural algae, or keep a balance of the reef, and you know, even when you're feeding the fish, they can become very aggressive too, and they will start to attack you. So let them eat their natural foods, and in that way they will take care of the reef. And so it's a good way of balancing all of the diversity you see along the shoreline. Thank you.
And a lot of the times what we want to feed the fish is not good for them. It's like feeding bread to ducks. It's not healthy.
Yeah. They give you a stomach ache.
Yeah, nobody wants a stomach ache. True or false? Use environmentally friendly sunscreen. Yay. Hopefully everybody gets this one, considering it's the prize. It is true. We want to use that environmentally friendly sunscreen. Yeah. And not just for the environment, but it's also important for our bodies. A lot of those oxybenzone, frenate, all of those ingredients that we're trying to keep out of the water are not good for ourselves as well. They're very bad for our bodies.
So always look at your ingredients. Zinc oxide or titanium dioxide should be your active ingredient.
Let's see, and our next question. Put your sunscreen on immediately before you go in the water. True or false? Let's see, our pros. This one might be a little bit trickier for you all at home. We're getting mixed ones on this too. Okay. So this is actually false. Sunscreen, many people do not know this, but sunscreen takes at least 15 minutes to dry. If you go in the water before you let it dry or sink into your skin, basically you're washing it off, so you have no protection, and it's getting on the coral, and the coral doesn't need sunscreen. But coral likes the sun.
Yeah, but that's good that you have this question on, Tara, because now people know. Thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. I think I have made it a habit because I'm sure, like many of us, when we were when we were kids, you got to the beach, you forcibly were lathered in sunscreen, and then you couldn't wait to go in the water. So our typical best practice at my house is to put on sunscreen actually before we leave the house. Before you
go, yeah.
Because that way, when you get there, it's irresistible, beautiful water. You can just jump right in because it's already dried. or already, appropriated to your skin. So it just make it a natural practice to put it on at home. And that way, if it gets in your eyes, you also have access to fresh water.
Yes.
And then I think we have just a couple more questions. This one was kind of hard to put into a true and false, but should you, true or false, observe sea turtles from shore from a distance of 10 feet and not disturb them while they're on the ocean floor, ledges, or under rocks? When swimming, you should give them space and not touch them. True or false? I know we have a couple turtle lovers on here. It is true. We always want to be respectful to the animals. Auntie, I heard that you have a resident hawksbill now. Is that true?
We've had a little guy there for a little while, but now, yes, we do. And not only that, just actually for a couple of years, we're all we wanted to know what happened to our turtles, and we had some emaciated turtles come into the bay. One died, last year in the bay, but now there are so many turtles coming back in the bay, and I think it's because there is a lot of food now, a lot of limo coming back, and the food sources is healthier and stronger, and so we see them, and we're very, very grateful that they're back, and that little hawksbill. We don't see that many here, they're all in Kahalu'u.
Yeah, I mean, and hawksbills are also an endangered species.
Yes,
so to see one is special.
Yes.
So just another testament to how special Kahalu'u is.
Yes, it is.
Let's see. I think we have one last question. True or false? You should dispose of your trash properly. I hope everybody on here watching knows the answer to this one. Yes, it is true. Plastics can damage coral reefs. They can injure wildlife, and in some certain circumstances, they can even die from ingesting it. A lot of us humans have the ability to pause, look at what we're eating, think about if we want to eat it. But when you live in the ocean, sometimes you just have to grab your meal before it swims away. Or before you think it's going to swim away, and it turns out to be a plastic bag, a sandwich baggie, a straw. So eliminating those single-use plastics from your life can make a very, very, very big difference. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if you need them, that's a different horse altogether. Many people have medical needs that require them. But for those of us who do things out of convenience, it's a good time during this rest period of COVID, this break from our new normal to evaluate what do we really need and what can we cut back on. Mm-hmm. Not just for our animals and our ocean, but for ourselves. Where can we save money? Can we be more thoughtful and take care of ourselves better?
Agreed.
And that is all of our questions. So if you answered, please stay on or private message me your address, and I will make sure that you get some free sunscreen. Or if you're wondering best brands, please visit the Kohala Center's website.
Yes. We have a website. Just go to kohalacenter.org/KBEC, Kahalu'u Bay Education Center. And we're looking for volunteers too. So, if you feel like you would like to volunteer, please do.
And what's the process for volunteering, Auntie? What do we need to do to get started to do that?
Well, to get started, we just let me or Kathleen Clark know. Our address is on our website, and then we would then set you up on with joining us on a training night, and so go through an educational training session and on the job also. So we would be, you wouldn't be by yourself. You have a lot of support.
I couldn't imagine either of you ever just throwing people to the wind and saying good luck.
There you go.
But this is the website. There's a photo gallery.
Yes.
All the information is here. There's the sun protection guide that we shared today. The reef etiquette is all here.
Yes.
As a nonprofit and always in need of funding like ourselves, there's a way to donate here.
Thank you for sharing that, Tara.
Of course. And if anyone wants to connect with Kathleen or Cindi, please let me know. If you aren't already connected with them, but you are connected with me, please feel free to send me a message and I will make sure I connect you all. But that is our community connection for today. Thank you again, Auntie Cindi, for joining us and sharing all of this knowledge and this beautiful way that we can move forward and find balance and thoughtfulness in all of our lives. Yeah. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Tara. Mahalo for having me on. And you have a beautiful day, and everyone stay safe and wear your masks.
Wear your rash guards. And for those of you still on, I have a personal request. The individual who went missing off of Old Airport is a friend. She is a spectacular human being. If you feel inclined to take action to support her and go out, look for her, you can walk the shoreline, but only do so if you feel safe and comfortable doing that. For those who can't get out and walk and want to help, they have started a GoFundMe to get her family out here during this trying time for them. So I will be sure to share that. That's actually on Kohala Center for Sustainability's Facebook page. But that's a personal message from me today. If anybody feels inclined to help Claire Maney, she was a beautiful human and hopefully is a beautiful human, and she cared about the ocean so much. She cared about our community so much. She was a shining star and a bright light wherever she went and whatever she did here. So just wanted to share that message, and thank you for letting me share that today. And again, thank you, Auntie, for joining us.
You're welcome. And sending a lot of prayers to you, sweetheart. Mahalo.
Aloha, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
You too.